we're never coming back to this city.
This June, tourism was down in Las Vegas by a whopping 11.3%. Is Las Vegas in a slump right now?
Definitely in a slump.
5 years ago, Vegas was America's playground. $5 steak and eggs, free drinks, 42 million people a year. Today, $26 water bottles, $40 resort fees. Wall Street landlords pricing out locals. The city that built an empire on making regular people feel like kings has been sabotaged for quarterly earnings. Here's exactly how they destroyed their own money machine. In 2019, Las Vegas felt like a fever dream you could actually afford. The city welcomed 42.5 million visitors, its biggest year ever. The magic wasn't in the neon or the slot machines. It was in the way the Strip treated everyone like a VIP, no secret handshake required. You could wander into Ocean One and get 3 cocktails for $10, then stumble across the street for a $5 steak and eggs breakfast at 3 in the morning. The food was cheap, the drinks were strong, and nobody cared if you were dressed for a nightclub or a bowling alley. Comps were handed out with a wink, not an algorithm. Play a few hands and the pit boss would slide you a buffet voucher or free show tickets. No spreadsheets, no loyalty apps, just old school hospitality. Regulars bragged about getting rooms comped for the weekend, sometimes just for showing up. It didn't matter if you were a high roller or just lucky at the penny slots. Vegas wanted you to feel like you belonged. The place ran on generosity, not scarcity. Parking was free. Early check-in? No problem. You could lose $20 at blackjack and still walk away with a free drink and a story to tell. For the middle class, Vegas was an escape hatch, a place where your dollar stretched so far it felt like cheating. That sense of abundance, of being treated better than you probably deserved, was the real jackpot. People came back year after year for that feeling, and for a moment, it really did seem like the party would never end. On March 17, 2020, the Las Vegas Strip went dark. Not just a few casinos, every hotel, every slot machine, every neon sign. The last time anything close to this happened, Kennedy had just been shot. But this time, there was no end date, no blueprint. Just a city built on crowds and chaos suddenly emptied out. Security guards patrolled silent lobbies. Casino bosses locked up vaults and counted chips by flashlight. The fountains at Bellagio stopped mid-dance, and the only people left on Las Vegas Boulevard were the ones hired to keep watch over empty rooms. Visitor numbers crashed from over 42 million the year before to just 19 million, a drop so steep it sent shockwaves through every corner of the valley. For service workers, the fallout was brutal. Unemployment shot past 30%. Valets, cocktail servers, and housekeepers found themselves in endless lines at food banks. The culinary union had to sue just to force hotels to keep cleaning staff on the payroll and guarantee rooms would be sanitized. If you worked on the Strip, you either lost your job or spent your days wondering when the next round of layoffs would hit. Rooms went for dirt cheap, but the crowds that showed up weren't the usual mix of families and conventioneers. Fights broke out in hotel lobbies. Videos of brawls and vandalism started going viral, painting a picture of a city that had lost its grip. For the first time in living memory, Vegas felt less like a playground and more like a ghost town with a hangover. The party was over, and nobody knew if it was ever coming back. The culinary union wasn't about to let the Strip's new chaos go unanswered. In the summer of 2020, they took the fight straight to the courts, filing a lawsuit to force casinos to keep housekeepers on the payroll and actually clean rooms. It sounds basic, but in Vegas, nothing about labor is ever simple. Union reps described hotels trying to cut corners, from slashing cleaning shifts to skimping on supplies. For thousands of workers, the difference between a paycheck and a pink slip came down to a judge's order. On the casino floors, things spun out even faster. Cheap rooms drew crowds that didn't care about the old unspoken rules. Security staff, already stretched thin from pandemic layoffs, found themselves breaking up fights in lobbies and chasing vandals through empty corridors. It was the kind of trouble that used to be rare in Vegas, now going viral every weekend. One clip showed a brawl at a mid-tier resort, fists flying, furniture knocked over, security nowhere to be found for minutes. Word spread fast online. Vegas wasn't just empty, it was unruly. Housekeepers told local news they were scared to work alone on certain floors. Bartenders watched tips dry up as guests nursed cheap drinks for hours. Even longtime pit bosses, used to handling drunks and sore losers, admitted they'd never seen the Strip feel so out of control. The city that once made everyone feel safe and lucky now felt unpredictable. For workers and regulars, Vegas was losing the script. The sense of order of the house always being in control had slipped away, and nobody knew who, if anyone, was running the show. By the summer of 2021, Vegas was back, but not the Vegas anyone remembered. Flights were packed, the Strip was gridlocked, and every casino buzzed with people who looked like they had been locked indoors for a year and were now on a mission to burn through every last dollar. It wasn't just a vacation, it was revenge. People lined up for $18 cocktails without blinking, and nobody flinched at $40 resort fees tacked onto the bill. The old complaints about nickel and diming got drowned out by the sound of slot machines and credit cards swiping at every bar. The casinos couldn't believe their luck. For the first time ever, the Strip raked in $11.5 billion in gaming revenue. The lesson landed fast. If people were willing to pay, why stop at $40 for a resort fee? Why not $50? Guests didn't care if the buffet was gone or if parking now cost as much as dinner. They just wanted to be out, to be anywhere but at home, and Vegas was happy to oblige for a price. The energy was wild, but something had changed. The city that used to woo you with comps and cheap perks now realized it didn't have to. Guests put up with surcharges for early check-in, extra fees for pool chairs, and $9 bottles of water. Nobody seemed to notice, or maybe nobody wanted to ruin the party by complaining. The more people spent, the more the casinos pushed. Vegas had always been about excess, but now the excess was on the bill. The days of feeling like a high roller for $20 were gone. The new Vegas didn't just take your money at the tables, it charged you for the privilege of losing it. And as the profits rolled in, the Strip's bosses started to wonder why they'd ever given anything away for free. Blackstone didn't just buy a casino, they bought the ground under the Bellagio for $4.25 billion and then rented it back to MGM for $245 million a year. That's not a typo. This is the sale-leaseback model. The Wall Street landlord owns the building, the casino operator pays escalating rent, and the real money isn't made at the tables, it's in the fine print. Each year, those rent payments go up automatically, usually by 2% or more thanks to clauses baked right into the lease. It's a landlord's dream, guaranteed raises no matter how the slot machines perform. The Strip became a chessboard for private equity and REITs. Blackstone, Value ICI, Stonepeak, they all wanted a piece. The Cosmopolitan deal in 2022 split the property between owners and operators, with MGM paying fixed rent plus annual escalators tied to inflation. It's like the world's fanciest landlord-tenant drama, except the stakes are billions, and the tenants can't just move out if the rent gets too high. For the operators, the first bill to pay is always the landlord. That means every quarter, executives scramble to hit earnings targets and cover rent before anyone thinks about guest perks or staff bonuses. The pressure rolls downhill. Free parking? Gone. Buffets? Only if the spreadsheet says so. Resort fees climb, comp drinks dry up, and even the guy betting $500 a hand gets asked to pay for his own coffee. Maintenance budgets stay healthy, after all, the lease requires it, but anything that doesn't boost immediate profit is on the chopping block. On paper, it's just business. In practice, it's a machine that squeezes every dollar out of every guest, every night. Wall Street's rent escalators don't care about nostalgia or loyalty. They care about next quarter's dividend. And as the Strip's ownership shifted from casino families to finance giants, the guest experience became just another line item on a balance sheet. A few years back, a Vegas regular could drive straight into a casino garage, park for free, and walk to the slots without ever thinking about a bill. That's over. Parking now costs $18 to $35 a day at most Strip resorts, and the only thing complimentary is the confusion about where your money went. The days of endless buffets are gone too. The all-you-can-eat spreads that once lured families and hungover gamblers have been whittled down to a handful of properties with prices that make you wonder if lobster is extinct. The Flamingo's $14.99 breakfast is a memory. At the Wynn, it's $50 just to get in line. And don't expect a free mimosa unless you're betting the mortgage. The real gut punch comes at the tables. The old-school pit bosses who used to slip you a comped meal or show ticket have been replaced by loyalty apps and facial recognition. Now it's the algorithm that decides if you're worthy of a free drink or a late checkout. Regulars who once got weekends, comped for a little steady play, now find themselves demoted, their offers downgraded or gone. A $500 a hand blackjack player might get a handshake, but not a free dessert. Even high rollers complain about being denied a $10 smoothie after dropping thousands at the tables. If you're not top tier in the new reward system, you're just another line on a spreadsheet. Casino hosts grumble about being powerless. One longtime host at Caesars said, "It used to be about relationships. Now it's about formulas." Guests notice. Social media is filled with rants and receipts. $40 for early check-in, $60 for a pool cabana, $20 for a bottle of water. The perks that made Vegas feel generous have been replaced by a paywall at every turn. For visitors, the fun is fading fast. The Strip has traded its famous hospitality for a cold corporate handshake, and people are starting to talk. Hashtag Vegas is dead didn't start as a movement. It started as a punchline. One viral post at a time, the Strip's dirty laundry was dragged out for all to see. TikTokers filmed empty casino floors on a Saturday night receipts with $26 water bottles and a guy who bet $25,000 a hand at blackjack, only to get stiffed on a $10 smoothie. The comments section was a therapy group, people swapping stories about $40 bagels, $100 breakfast, and the time they got hit with a $60 fee for daring to check in before 3 p.m. It wasn't just sticker shock. Every viral post came with a side of data. Occupancy rates in April 2025 dropped to 82.9%, down from over 85% the year before. Revenue per available room, RevPAR for those who speak Wall Street, plunged nearly 29% on peak weekends. Hotels scrambled to fill beds, slashing rates midweek and tossing out last-minute deals. The Strip, once so full you couldn't swing a selfie stick without hitting a crowd, now had whole rows of vacant slot machines and cabanas gathering dust. The backlash wasn't just noise. Each viral rant chipped away at the city's reputation. Casino execs tried damage control, press releases, influencer junkets, anything to drown out the outrage. But the receipts kept coming, louder and more relentless. For the first time, the world could watch Vegas lose its cool in real time. What happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas. It trended and it hurt where it mattered most. The bottom line. The Formula One Grand Prix was supposed to be Vegas's global coming out party. Instead, it turned into a cautionary tale. Months before the 2023 race, the Strip was a construction zone. Sidewalks fenced off, lanes closed, traffic backed up for miles. Small businesses that depended on walk-ins saw their sales dry up overnight. Owners stared at empty dining rooms and wondered how they'd make payroll. Some said the F1 shutdown was worse than the pandemic. By the time the race actually happened, the only thing moving faster than the cars were the discounts. Grandstand tickets that started at over $2,000 dropped by more than half in the final week. Even then, seats stayed empty. The hangover didn't end with the checkered flag. In 2025, Las Vegas counted 1.5 million fewer visitors than the year before. Convention attendance slid, and the Strip felt hollow, especially on what used to be busy weekends. The city's gamble on high-end events and sky-high prices had backfired. Social media was filled with locals venting about lost business and tourists complaining about gridlock, closed sidewalks, and sticker shock. The old promise, Vegas for everyone, felt broken. Small business owners who had weathered recessions and booms now faced a new enemy, a city that seemed to have forgotten them. For locals, the message was clear. Vegas had rolled out the red carpet for the world's elite, but pulled it out from under the people who kept the lights on all year. The backlash wasn't just about one race. It was about years of feeling pushed out, priced out, and left behind. The city that once thrived on crowds and chaos now stared down empty rooms and angry reviews. Greed, not glamour, was running the show, and everyone could feel it. In 2019, Las Vegas drew a record 42.5 million visitors, many lured by $5 breakfast and affordable experiences now gone from the Strip. The sudden 2020 shutdown exposed how fragile that golden era was, leading to over 30% unemployment and a lawsuit just to keep hotels clean. When travel roared back, Strip casinos posted $11.5 billion in gaming revenue. But new Wall Street landlords raised resort fees, slashed perks, and shifted the city's focus to short-term profit. By 2025, data shows occupancy down, revenue per room falling 28.7%, and 1.5 million fewer visitors. Social media receipts and viral outrage reveal a consensus. Vegas traded loyalty for high prices and lost its reputation along the way. Yet some details, like the exact impact of changing ownership contracts, remain behind closed doors. What's clear is that Las Vegas, once America's playground for all, has become a cautionary tale of unchecked greed and shifting priorities documented in plain numbers and lived experiences.